Hello and welcome back to Biz Inbox. I'm Em Vernon.
And I'm Sarah Davidson.
And today we are tackling some awkward workplace situations. Like when your colleague just doesn't like you to the point where it affects your work. And we're also talking about the nightmare of managing a team spread across multiple cities when everyone's forming their own little cliques and you can't be everywhere all at once.
Oh my God, nightmare material. And later, we're helping someone who's going through the worst breakup ever, but still has to show up to the office and pretend to be a functioning human being.
But first, I have a little PSA that kind of hooks off an episode we did a few weeks ago. Do you remember when, Sarah, you were telling me about that stat, how women are less likely to apply for a job if they don't meet all their requirements compared to men? Well, I've got some news for you, and it's not good news.
Oh, dear.
ChatGPT and other chatbots, research has found that they're literally telling women to ask for lower salaries than men, even if they have identical qualifications.
No.
Isn't that insane?
Why?
And I use ChatGPT to help me with like performance reviews and stuff like that, and like salary negotiations. And like she's been lying to me this whole time. I could be a billionaire by now.
I am shook.
So this is just a little reminder that yes, AI is helpful, but do not rely on it for your entire career advice. You know your self-worth more than anything, including AI. I think because AI basically just takes resources and sources from all the information that's out there. And obviously the information is out there is that men get paid more than women. So AI is like, oh, men get paid more than women, so women should ask for lower salaries.
It's like they're trained on data.
It's trained on data.
That, like real world bias, and is just perpetuating it over and over. And this has me really shook because I rely on ChatGPT for way too much in my life, and I think I need to just like check myself before I wreck myself, and remember that it's not like doesn't have the final say on everything.
Yeah, I wonder what our ChatGPTs would do if we told them that. Be like, hey, I heard you've been doing something. You've been telling women to ask for lower salaries than men. That's not cool. Don't ever do that with me or any other woman ever again.
I think that would help. I think you would have to say, by the way, I have noticed you are taking into account current existing biases.
Yeah.
And I want you not to do that and give me fresh advice. I think you'd have to get a bit sassy.
Yeah.
But then it would learn from that. But it's actually horrifying that unless you did that, it wouldn't know.
Yeah. We all have to untrain our AI bots so they can be feminists like we are.
Oh my God.
All right. Oh my God. I feel like that's just going to open up a whole new wave of dilemmas coming our way.
I know. And I'm actually embarrassed how much I delegate like decision making in my entire life.
Okay, let's jump into it. So our first question has come from Lisa, and she DM'd us with a situation that's making her question everything. She says, there's a colleague who clearly doesn't like me. She gives one-word answers, avoids eye contact, and goes quiet when I join conversations. We have to work together on projects, but the tension is affecting our output. I've tried being friendly, but she seems annoyed by my efforts. I generally don't know what I did wrong. How do I navigate working with someone who obviously can't stand me?
Oh, Lisa, I have so much empathy for you because I am the least confrontational person and the biggest people pleaser of anyone who I've met. And this would actually ruin me. Like I already am having an internal meltdown on Lisa's behalf. It's not even happening to me. And I'm like, I can't deal with it. I would have to make it right.
Yeah. Have you ever felt like you worked with someone who didn't like you?
I've definitely had times where I'm like, look, we're not best friends. I wouldn't say there's been hostility in this kind of, vein.
Yeah.
And I would definitely find this very distracting. It would absolutely affect my output because I would need to know why and how I could fix it. And especially if it was affecting my performance, I just wouldn't be able to, I would start to dread going to work every day. And I think my first reaction was, kill them with kindness. You can only be the bigger person. But if you've tried that and it isn't working, it's hard. I mean, sometimes you're never going to change someone's mind. Sometimes you're just not each other's people and you have to work around that professionally. But if it's kind of turning into bullying workplace hostility
Yeah.
that is affecting the entire team. I think that's a situation perhaps even for HR, or
Yeah.
even to have a conversation between you before you do make it more formal and just say, like, look, is there anything I've done? Again, I would never
Yeah.
be able to say that because I'm too awkward, but like, go off, queen. You should ask her.
Oh my God. I 100% agree with you. I have had a similar situation, not exactly the same where the person was hostile, but more like I knew I was working with someone who didn't like me and I was fine with it. But then it's exactly what you said. It started turning into this nasty behavior where it was like bullying, like they were bullying me in the workplace. And it got to a point where I still was, because I'd grown up not thinking that you'll always work with people you don't like. And to me, in my head, I was thinking that's the extreme because that's what you see in like TV and movies and stuff. I didn't know it's not normal to work with someone that really, really hates your guts for absolutely no reason. And I kept going, I kept working. And then my manager noticed that my output when this person was on leave or on sick leave was so
Was
much better
better.
compared to when she was working here, when she was working at the company I was at. And we had a conversation, and I was having conversations with people in HR about wanting to move to a different team and stuff. It's like I didn't even want to address the situation myself, or it was like a subconscious inkling in the back of my head where I thought it was such a normal behavior that I wanted to work at a different team, and I was more happy when she wasn't here that I didn't even put two and two together. It was my manager who put it together. And then they had a talk with her, and eventually she left the company, but after the talk with her, it immediately got better. So I do think it's one of those situations where I feel like if you really can't work and starting to get hostile, where she's like literally not replying to you and you need to talk about work things, then that is a HR thing that you need to bring into, because it's also impacting the wider company as well. If both of you aren't if both of you can't work to the best of your abilities, it's like not only a mental health thing, but it's like a physical health thing as well. Like it manifests in so many different ways, and your company would 100% want to sort this out.
Yeah, absolutely. I think as a chronic people pleaser, you do have to accept that you won't love everyone who you work with, and that you could even maybe actively dislike some people.
Yeah.
But if you can overcome that professionally, it's fine. You don't have to be best friends. But
Yeah.
if you're not able to communicate, like it says that that person goes quiet when Lisa joins conversations.
Yeah.
Like if that's affecting a work productivity conversation and is stopping people actually getting results as a team, yeah, that goes beyond just the two of you. And you definitely need some support in working out what the best way is to cope with that. And I'm so sorry that you face that because you have to go
Yeah.
there every day. That's so tough.
That sucks. Okay. The next question we have is from an anonymous person who submitted this to us. They said, I manage 8 people across Melbourne, Sydney, Perth, and Adelaide. That's a lot of cities. The Melbourne crew makes decisions without consulting others. Perth feels left out. Sydney seems disengaged in video calls. The team cohesion scores are low. I'm struggling to build genuine relationships when every interaction is scheduled and on screen. The company won't pay for face-to-face meetups, and I can't be everywhere at once. How do I manage effectively across multiple cities while keeping everyone connected and accountable? This one's hard because I've actually never worked with people across different cities before, but I have managed people who were in different cities, but they were all in the same city and I was the one in the different city, and that seemed a bit easier. I think it's when you're managing people in like multiple different cities. I also feel like this is a question for leadership to be like, is this the most effective way to structure a team? If like they're all split up across multiple different cities, it just seems very, very difficult.
Yeah, my first, when I was working through this in my mind, I was like, that obviously sounds enormously challenging and not ideal. But I kind of thought, like, what are the ways that you could keep working on engagement? How could you kind of, I don't know, spice up the online interactions that everyone has? But it is an enormous barrier to cohesion, to not being able to be in the same room. And I think that it is probably something that you do go back to the company about before, Like, it's kind of not on you to help build a barrier when that is the structure of the business.
Yeah.
And you can only do what you can do to make people engage when they live in all different states. And I think that something that does work really well in situations like the firm I used to live in, the firm I used to work in did have lots of different offices, and we weren't always working in teams together. But when we were, there would be in-person meetings, even if it was just a kickoff and then closer.
Yeah.
But you have to get everyone in the same room to build
Yeah.
that kind of team morale. And so I think I would go back to the company and the decision makers first and pitch to them and say, this is really not building the cohesion that this team needs to be able to work together.
Yeah.
And there's only so much you can do. Like, you could try maybe things like trivia with the teams, but if people are already disengaged, they're just going to think that's lame.
Especially if
I
they've
think
made
it's
their
in
own like
person.
cliques, right? In their own
Yeah.
cities. And it seems like your company also isn't setting you up for success, saying that they won't they won't fly people over for face to face. I'm going to give you your business plan right here. I think there should be a team leader in each one of the cities. So if the company still wants you to like work this way, they need to assign a team leader for each one of the cities, and then you're only dealing with like 4 people. Well, I'm assuming you're in one of the cities, so you're only dealing with 3 people versus like teams of people. And then any of like the issues of like communications and stuff, that's up to the team leader to fix. So it's up to the team leader in Melbourne to fix it with a team leader in Adelaide. It's not up to you. You're like the point person up the top, and you're just dealing with the team leaders, because this sounds super, super hectic. And also I feel like this is like you're just kind of like setting up an environment where it can just go horribly wrong. But that does sound like a really hard situation to be in. I definitely think because you haven't been set up for success, you do have every right to talk about this situation with your manager or with leadership, because it is really hard. And yeah, I just feel like there's so many better ways to work this out that I feel like your company isn't really providing you with.
Especially if you're going to get blamed for any drop in performance.
Yes.
Then you definitely need to say, hey, guys, unless you are going to give me more budget for in-person cohesion activities, I can't get through this. This is a blockage that you're not helping me fix. So you can't blame me if it doesn't, if it all goes pear-shaped.
Oh, good luck. Okay. Our last question. Grab the tissues because this one's really sad. Okay.
Oh.
It's from an anonymous person, and it says, I'm going through the worst breakup ever. 4 years down the drain, and I'm absolutely wrecked. Can't sleep, can't stop crying, the whole thing. But my company just made us come back to the office, so I can't hide at home anymore. I'm literally trying not to sob at my desk and being snappy with everyone because I'm so exhausted. People keep asking if I'm okay, which just makes it worse. I have zero energy to fake being fine. How do I survive work when I'm this much of a mess? Do I tell my boss what's happening? And how do I stop being awful to my colleagues who are actually trying to help?
Oh, heartbreak. It is truly one of those things that it sounds sort of whimsical or trivial when you say to someone else, but when you're going through it, this is like, it is your entire life. The emotions are all consuming. And like, I personally would look at, if it was, disrupting me to this level, I would maybe consider taking some annual leave.
Yeah, I was literally going to say the same thing. I feel like if you're comfortable with your boss and you trust them, this is one of those situations that I would bring up, because even though it exactly what you said, heartbreak can be so trivial, but it's actually so it like manifests so physically sometimes. Like people get actually sick from heartbreak.
Oh, they don't eat, they don't sleep.
If like and I feel like things like divorce, like that is taken so seriously. Like I feel like people are more likely to talk about, I'm going through a divorce and I need time away. But just because it's not set on paper doesn't mean it's not as bad. And I think you can treat this as bad. So I would 100% say, tell your boss if you trust them, and then take the leave, take time to be with yourself, with your feelings, do whatever it takes to help you feel better. But at that same time, I will say I've experienced heartbreak pre and post COVID, and there is a huge difference. Pre-COVID, when I experienced heartbreak, it was so hard coming into work and having to do my job every single day and talk to my colleagues and pretend everything was okay because I didn't want too many people to know. But in doing that, it actually helped me get over the heartbreak much, much quicker because I was so busy with work and with talking to people and being with people around me. I physically didn't have time to think about it and to sit in it for too long. The only times I felt really, really awful was the times I was alone at home. I've also been through heartbreak during COVID, and it was so much better not having everyone know my shit, like being able to just deal with it on my own and being able to work on my computer and have no one really like talk to me or really see me going through it physically. It took way too long to get over that. Like it was really, really hard to get over it because I was just by myself all the time, constantly thinking about it. And it's like, it is so shit because it's one of those situations where you have to do it hard before it gets good. And I just remember like that was the biggest difference about being alone in heartbreak versus being forced to continue with your life while going through it. It does suck initially, but eventually I think it is better. Like I think your colleagues, no one's going to be looking at you going, oh my God, what a sad little bitch. Like no one is going to be doing that. I promise you, no one's doing that. We've all experienced heartbreak. Every single person has had their heart broken and every single person knows what it feels like. Just be yourself. Like even if you're like, I've had people like literally bite my head off when they were going through a heartbreak and I've been like, you know what, fair enough, they're going through it. And you will always come out on the other side of it. Like it's not something that you sit in forever, and it's just one of those things that it's the shittest advice, but it is true. It's one of those things that just takes time.
Yeah, 100%. Sometimes the distraction is really cathartic and gets you through another day without you just sort of moping at home and feeling horrible. But yeah, I think in that situation, if you are going to stay in the workplace, then definitely communicating it so people know that you do have something going on, because I think it can be really easy to go, okay, I'm going to stay here, but I'm also not going to tell anyone. Then you might affect relationships without giving them the context of why you're being an asshole.
Especially since you've seen it,
they
like
want to know
yourself,
why.
like and you know that you are being snappy with colleagues. So you know that you're already doing it. Yeah, just own it. Just say it. Like we've all gone through it. In fact, it kind of makes you the main character and a bit cooler than everyone else.
100%. And it also gives them the chance to kind of be on the journey with you. Like sometimes you do want your colleagues, they might want to rally around you and say, okay, well, do you need us to have your favorite Diet Coke ready for your lunch break? Because that's what's going to help you, what's going to help you get through today. Like it can be a little group therapy effort to get you back to being you. You want allies. You don't want to push people away because they're confused about why you're suddenly being mean to them. I think if you trust them, and same with your boss, like let everyone know what's happening, you might be given some grace while you need it.
Yeah. After you take your leave, of course.
After you take your leave, yeah.
Your hot girl summer.